Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this live stream brought to you by Temasek Polytechnic School of Design. We are the Diploma in Product and Industrial Design. My name is Eric. I'm a lecturer with the Diploma in Product and Industrial Design. With me today are two of my students. In year two, we have Seraphine Lim, and from year three, we have Ye Lin.
Hello.
So for today's agenda, what we're going to do is going to talk about what student life is like in PID, or the Diploma in Product and Design, Industrial Design in short. All right. And I'm going to allow Seraphine and Yelin to share with you their experiences, okay, what life is like in PID. Okay, so just as a thing for our audience coming in from YouTube live stream, if you wish to ask us any questions at this point in time, okay, please remember you can use the chat function in the YouTube live stream. I'm keeping an eye on that. And if any question is aimed towards the course in general, I'll try to answer those questions. If any questions aimed towards the students, I'll get them to answer the question so that you can hear the words out of their own mouths. Now, at this point in time, I also like to say that this live stream is part of a suite of sharing sessions that's happening between from yesterday through to today and tomorrow as well. Earlier today, we had a sharing session with one of our year one and year two students. So for today's, for tomorrow's sessions, we have a session with one of our alumni who graduated a couple of years back. This alumni is now currently studying in NUS. So for those of you who are interested to understand more about the processes of what it's like to graduate from this program and to then progress into a local university, namely NUS, please come in tomorrow. The session is at 1 o'clock. Okay, and then we'll be more than happy to engage with you during that session as well. But for today's session, okay, it's all about what year two life and year three life is like in PID. So first of all, allow me to introduce Seraphine, who is our year two student. So Seraphine currently is in year two, and she's gone through year one already, and she's currently sort of like three quarters of the way through her year two sort of like life here in PID. So Seraphine, let's get on to you first. Okay. Please don't forget to mute
Hello.
your mic. Uh,
Yeah.
so, hi, Seraphine. Okay. So, first question I'd like to ask you, okay, is, so from your experience, okay, maybe you could give us a quick overview what your year one was like, and then tell us how year two has been different from year one. Take it away.
Okay, so I'm Seraphine, currently year 2 PID. So for me in year 1, I think it's pretty tough. And because I also joined CCA, so I have to juggle between my CCA and school as well. So it's a bit tough. And because also like I'm trying to adapt. But I think overall PID has been quite interesting because I'm someone who enjoys like hands-on work. So I'm able to like explore more, like do more in this course, and also like learn about other things as well, not just like all PID work. So it's just like learn more about like I learned about AI, Photoshop and stuff like that. So I learned a lot of new things, and it's very different from year 1 and year 2 because I mean year 1 most of the time it's in school, but then now in year 2 it's like HBL, so it's slightly tough because like we can't use the workshop as much and everything is very like restricted in a way. Yeah, and I always like do my work in studio because that's a space where we are given and we can do all our work there. Yeah, so it's like very convenient. Yeah, that's all. Hey, Eric, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for that. Okay. So, I want to ask, okay, you're currently year two, but if you think back from when you were in year one, what was your impression of year two like from your perspective in terms of the difficulty level of projects and modules, so on and so forth?
I think year 2, I think the difference quite big. I mean, I think it's for me, yeah, because I'm a bit slower, and then some stuff is like still very new to me, and then I need a lot of like help also. Um, yeah, it's a bit tough because like when you want to consult also, it's very difficult also because you cannot just like go to school, there's like Cher, are you in school? Can I consult you right now? But then online it's like you have to like text the teacher first and then like schedule a timing. Sometimes they're busy or they don't like see the message. So it's not as like efficient also. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So what I'm hearing from you is that in terms of like the difficulty is to do with consultation, or help us understand a bit more about that.
Oh yeah, it's just like consulting teachers also. Because in school it's like very easy to just like find a lecturer. Then when it's online, a bit harder also. Mm-hmm. And then like
Uh,
for
I believe you're.
hmm?
So
Sorry.
sorry. Carry on. Carry on.
Oh yeah, then like for course wise, I think year two there are like some stuff like carry forward lah. So it's just like a development on it. But I think overall it's better because in year one still very new. So like year two, I kind of know what is it about. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you find what do you think is the how do you find the culture in PID since you have joined? I mean, is it quite casual? Is it fast paced? Is it quite stressful?
I think initially it's quite fast paced and I do feel stressed because like the things are very different. It's like not what I expect. And then I'm not very good with like all the computer work and stuff. So for me it's very tough because I'm still trying to learn and stuff like that. And I mean I have my friends who always like help and guide me, lecturers who are willing to help me as well. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And so, we've talked a little bit about, the difficulties of interacting with tutors from home-based learning. So I think a lot of us have been struggling, with varying successes um, dealing with home-based learning, ever since the outbreak of COVID here in Singapore. Tell me more about what HBO has been like for you, in terms of your relationship with your classmates, in terms of how your lessons are structured, that kind of stuff. Sorry, Sarfin, I think your mic is muted.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
My question is, in relation to home-based learning, what has been challenging for you, and what do you think you have what do you think are the main issues that have come of home-based learning for you?
Oh, home-based learning. I think firstly it's like I procrastinate quite a bit because like at home where you're comfortable, so it's like very hard to like get myself like start to do work and stuff because I'm always like my bed is just beside me, and then every time I wake up like 5 minutes before the lesson, so I still very like sleepy mode in a way, and then it's very hard to adapt because I'm always in school, so it feels very different. Yeah, yeah.
So from that point of view, what do you think you missed the most out of, being in school versus home-based learning?
I think it's like being with my friends, cause it's like being with my friends. Then like we can do work together, like have fun and like it's just like interaction. I feel, cause I think that's very like important. Cause like just staying home alone, just doing work, it can be quite like boring and tiring also. Yeah.
Mm. And I mean, so during this period, do you find yourself kind of like communicating more with your classmates on the side? Setting up channels of communication to make sure that you guys stay sort of like in touch with each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I actually have because like sometimes me and my friends will like just Discord or like MS Teams to do work together or anything. We just like WhatsApp and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's just like we are still together but not like physically. Yeah.
Mm, I understand. Okay, so let's move on from HBL. Okay, I wanted to talk about sort of like uh the subjects that you're currently doing, or at least you have done since the start of year two. So within year two itself, uh, what do you think has been the most challenging aspect of your poly life so far, other than HBL? Sorry, yeah, your mic is muted still. Sorry.
Other than HBL, mm, I think because I also in DSC, like I'm a main com, right? So it's like everything has to be virtual, which is quite tough. So everything is like very new, like we don't know what to do, and we have to like find ways to like engage with people and do stuff, not just like, oh, everything is online, you can do this, do that. You have to think out of the box. So it's like quite challenging as well because you're still very new and it's not something we expect, Yeah, so we are not like prepared, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Uh, I noticed that you mentioned DSC. So just for the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with the term, could you tell us more about DSC and your CCA in general?
Yeah, so basically DSC is Design Studies Club. Basically it's just like a CCA aside from schoolwork. So it's like basically we plan events within school. So there are such thing as like Gems for Lunch, Appreciation Day, and like Design Your Book. And there are many more events. Yeah. So it's like if you are like a freshie, in year one, you want to like do more than just your schoolworks. You want to make new friends, have some like interactions with other courses. You can join like BSc. You just like broaden your like connections and stuff like that.
I see. Okay. And at this point in time, maybe I want to, talk a little bit more about not just the subjects, more about you as a person, as a young designer, right? Help me understand what is your motivation. I know it's probably quite a broad and a slightly difficult question, but what do you think your goals are in the future? For yourself as a creative.
I never really thought of it, but I mean, I want to be successful. Then I'm still trying to like find myself like what I really want to do, what I really like in this course. Yeah, cause like from this course, I feel like we do a little bit about every single course, not just like PID in general. So I'm still trying to find what I like, and there are definitely things like I'm not good at. There are things I'm good at and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hmm. So in terms of your skill set, where do you think you feel like you are the strongest, within design?
Strongest, I think more of like hands-on work. I'm not very good with like technology aspect. Yeah, because it's a bit tough for me because I'm just not as good lah. Yeah, compared to my friends, so I struggle a lot more. Then I require like more help. But I'm thankful that my friends always like help me and stuff like that. They guide me through. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So, um, well, now let's go back to talking about, in terms of life in PID, as we alluded earlier, and in fact, with the earlier session today, your fellow year two student also, sort of like was sharing some of the difficulties or at least some of the challenges that they will face when they're adjusting from year one to year two. So, could you talk a little bit more about that? What was it like, transitioning from year one and then into year two? What were the main differences, and what have you learned so far from this experience?
Okay, I need to think. I think it's like definitely a big jump because in year one everything is still quite like basic. Then after year two is like quite advanced. Yeah,
Mm,
then like uh, just slightly tough for me. Yeah, I can't really think right now. Yeah, but it was definitely tough.
okay. But do you feel more confident in yourself this year versus in year one?
Maybe a little, but for some subjects like not as confident. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think, given that now you're currently in year two, is there anything in year three that you're looking forward to in particular?
Probably like internship. I want to see because I feel like internship is just like where you would go in the future or like what you will like. So I just want to see if I'm able to work well with the company I choose. Yeah. Or like where am I
Mm,
like heading towards to?
okay. And I think that's very interesting. And I will allow Yelin later to shed some light on her experiences in SIP. So I think that's the kind of like the value of why we get students of different levels, to engage in this conversation. But at the same time, I think that's also a very common thread. In fact, your coursemate Moose this morning also shared the exact same thing, that he is also looking forward to in SIP as well. Um, one of the main sort of like tenets of polytechnic education is to prepare young adults like yourself, young designers, for life in the workforce. And I think it's great that it's something that you're looking forward to, because it's also about showing off what you're capable of, and also about bringing your learning to the next level, because there's only so much you can learn in school. I mean, learning school stuff actually helps you to, at least what we try to teach you guys, what we try to teach you guys, like the fundamentals and at least some deepening of certain skill sets. But when you go into the workforce, when you go into the real world environment, you start to see how these skills actually can apply to real world projects. Can help real world clients to understand how your skills can help to add value to their endeavors and their business goals. Right. So more on that a little bit later from Yelin. Now the last question I want to ask Seraphine, okay, before I kind of pass the time to Yelin, is okay. Let's see. Okay, what has been the most interesting non-curricular activity you've engaged in so far in PID? Non-curricular activity.
I think it's like every time after lessons, right? Then me and my friends will just like eat dinner together, like opposite school or at Tampines. Yeah. So like just spend time, relax for a while, then we just like chit chat. Yeah.
Mm. How about any school organized non-curricular activities? Can you think of any?
I think like during Flex Week, we learned the paper crafting by you in year one. I think it's quite interesting cause like um it's quite how to say like cause like it's just a paper but then you can make so much out of it. Like you can make like I think then we did like a ball, the ornament ball or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was all the way from year one.
Yeah, year one, year one.
I see. Okay. I'm glad that you shared that. Okay, thank you so much for the quick sharing. Okay, well, at this point in time, I just want to encourage anyone who's watching right now, if you have any questions for our two students, Seraphine and Yelin, who are from year two, year three, respectively, to please put in your questions into the Google live stream chat. Okay, so if you have any questions, we'll try to definitely either direct them towards the students if it's something that the students can answer, or I'll definitely help to answer those questions if it's something that's more course related, that I definitely have more insight to be able to provide you with a deeper understanding. Okay, so while you think of your questions, okay, I also like to point out that the School of Design's website at tp.edu.sg is live. You can go to that website, go to the School of Design, and then click on the Diploma in Product and Industrial Design to find out more about this course. Okay. I also want to take this moment also to kind of just repeat myself from what I said earlier, that these live stream programs are not just for today. In fact, tomorrow we have one more segment at 1 o'clock with our alumni who's currently studying at NUS. In the Department of Industrial Design. So there is continuity from poly through to uni life. Um, so if you're interested in that, please come in for tomorrow's session. Okay. So right now, I'd like to pass the time on to Lin. Okay, who's currently in year three. So Lin, um, wanted to ask you, maybe you can tell us, okay, how has PID life been in general for you?
Oh, okay. Well, in general, okay. I think PID life in general has been very rewarding. Like I've learned a lot of skills that I didn't know back in year one, and also made a lot of friends. And yeah, we actually also inculcated this culture of sharing in PID as well over the years. Like at how in year one we were very quiet, we didn't want to share our materials, but now we're just you need it, just take lah. Yeah.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I think we lost you for the last 5 to 7 seconds. Could
Oh,
you
I
could you
see.
repeat yourself again one more time?
Yeah, okay, so like how we inculcated this culture of sharing. At first, everybody in
Uh-huh.
PID in year one, we were very quiet. But in the end, we started going deeper bonds, we started sharing our stuff and everything. And so, yeah, right now in year three, everything's also been the same, but we're just much more bonded now as well. So I think to me, that part of PID is very rewarding.
Mm. And I think that's quite encouraging to hear for me personally, as an educator, as your tutor. In fact, I've taught Seraphine and Yelin, at different stages in their PhD journey so far, right? One of my main goals is to inculcate this culture that you're not design is not about um, just one person surviving all by themselves. In fact, the way design works in the real world is that you're very much a collaborative person, whether you're collaborating directly with fellow creatives or with persons who are outside of the domain of design, right? And the ability to cross that boundary, that imaginary boundary, at least between you and another person, is very important, especially when it comes to work, right? So, okay, thank you for sharing that, Lynn. Okay, so help me understand what is the general profile of your three peers. Help the people who are watching from YouTube understand a bit better about what this
Okay,
graduating batch of PhD students are like.
okay, I'd say that um, I'm not so sure about other batches, but the current batch that I'm in, we are extremely communicative. We are so very inviting as well. So like what I said, if you need any masking tape, that's just a podcast. We'll give you masking tape. We will even buy it for you if you need some. And right now, so as in year twos, we actually discovered that 3D printers are very useful. So some of us bought some 3D printers, and now we started sharing our 3D printers usage. Like if you need to print anything, just let us know, and then we'll print it for you. And also
Mm,
over the years, yeah, we started making it very natural for us to remind each other of assignments and upcoming assignments, and also sharing methods when we are in the workshop, like how to cut wood, what else can be used for, what other tools can be used, and such.
mm. That's great. I think that sounds like it's the culture is being grown, right? And it's not just about um, I think in the past, the impression of design is that it's a bit of a cutthroat industry, maybe, to use a slightly alarming word. But at the same time, I think that's slowly shifting, and I feel that what you just shared is very encouraging. Um, so maybe you can help us to understand, like, when you in year one or year two, what was your impression of year three like, from your eyes, at the point in time?
Okay, back in year two. Okay, year two feels very very long ago because of the COVID situation. But yeah, I think me as a year two, I thought that year three work would be much more difficult. There'll be more modules, but in fact, there are actually lesser modules now in year three. Like we only have had 3 modules this entire year three year, and we actually have more time as well. But just because we have more time doesn't mean that we get to slack. There's more time for us to do our work. So that there are also higher expectations as well. So in year three too, everything that we've learned from year one and two comes into play. So we're not we're not given any more holding hands for the lecturers. The lecturers barely guide us now, which is a good thing, because we're supposed to show an initiative and in showing skills that we've learned so far.
Hmm. And I think that's a fantastic way of like summarizing, the approach for PID in general. So, I mean, full disclosure is that and for those who are watching, as the lecturer in product industrial design, I'm mainly sort of like handling year one and some year two subjects, and then the other members of my team help to handle year two and year three. But generally, the approach for us is that we are quite sort of like hand holding for the first year and maybe the first half of year two. By the time the second half of year two rolls along, we tend to give students a lot more autonomy to do work, but we also establish with the students that they have to, carry themselves, carry their own weight. And by the time year three comes along, it's very much like, okay, this is the brief, and we're here to answer questions and to help to kind of like be a point of reference. But a lot of the work, heavy lifting, needs to be done by you guys, especially in year three, because you're expected to take this attitude and take this kind of like mindset with you into the workforce the moment you graduate. So for better or worse, for people who may need a bit more handholding, of course, the guidance will still be there. Of course, the tutors are available to answer questions, but at the same time, the space is given. As Yelin, you were saying earlier, that there's more time, but actually that time is meant for you to go and do the work, meant for you to go and explore, to fail, right? To even iterate your designs, to actually make mistakes, right? Because mm, in terms of like the way we do things, especially in the studio context, we encourage students to keep trying, keep iterating, keep failing. But at least when you fail, you make those mistakes, you learn from those mistakes in return, and then you benefit from the experience. It's not just about what I say goes, it's about what you experience, and that turns into a point of learning for yourself, right? Okay, so I think that's been fantastic. I want to understand, Lynn, from your perspective, because we talked a little bit about HBL with Seraphine earlier. Help us understand
Yes.
what HBL has been like for you.
Oh wow. Okay. HPL. Okay. Some context. HPL was done in the previous months with in 2020. Right now, so year three. I'm back to school. Thank God. But back then doing HPL, the parts that have been easiest was that we didn't have to commute anymore. So no more commuting at 8:30 a.m. stuck in a traffic jam along PPE or KPE. So yeah, the part of HBO has been the best. The lack of commuting, so you save a lot of time traveling, and you can use that time to do your hobbies or something else. But the things that have been difficult during HBL is that um, it has been very difficult to describe our models or concepts through MS Teams or through Skype because definitely nothing beats face-to-face explanation when you can show your lecture your work instead of doing it on an e-meeting. So explaining our concepts through in Skype meetings is one of the challenges that I've been faced with.
I see. Okay. And so now that you've come back to school, because we've major project, we've made this allowance for you to come back to school. Um, you know, what do you cherish the most about now that you're back in school?
Okay, what I cherish the most now is definitely workshop time and studio time. Because in the past, after school, we could stay back in the studio and even catch a movie or two after we've done our projects together. But now we can't stay back in school at all because it's out of bounds after school hours. Yeah, and
Mm,
workshop time as well because right now we are only given an hour and a half in the workshop every day that we're back at school, which is quite short, especially if you're
mm.
doing your woodworking or doing prototyping as well. So because of that, we have to find alternatives. We have to decide on using other materials that are easier to work on at home.
Mhm. Okay. Yes, and I think that that's definitely a mitigating factor. Unfortunately, as much as a school, as tutors, we would like you guys to be back and have a bit more time in the workshop. I think we also have certain boundaries that we have to operate within. So for the benefit of those who are sort of like listening in from YouTube live stream, the main reason for this is basically about safety. I know there are many questions that people are asking us, like, oh, how come primary school, secondary school, students are allowed to be in school all the time? Whereas how come with tertiary, the arrangement is a little bit different. Now, I don't have all the answers in terms of like the rationale behind this. Unfortunately, I think we have to go to MOE to to um, to really ascertain the truth behind this. But I would say that at the same time, what the Polytech has been doing is to try to be as flexible as possible to make sure that the risk for transmission for COVID-19 is minimized. So that's pretty much where all this is coming from. That's the main motivation, which is to minimize risk for our students. Um, in terms of the learning, we hope that the learning has not just been kept at the same level, but at least been optimized as much as possible. Because, as Yelin alluded to earlier, the amount of travel time, from from home to school has been eliminated. So that means that we have more time to do other things. Um, whether that means being more productive at home, or at least giving us a chance to rest a bit more. I think that's besides the point. But at least in terms of lesson deployment, or at least for subject deployment, from the academic point of view, from the school's point of view, it's also about making sure that all this is still kept at a very high standard, you know. Um, and I think, for us, we're still looking forward to the days where we can see you guys all the time, face to face, without a mask. But, I think that's still a ways away. And in the meantime, we're just going to do our very best to make sure that your learning can continue without any disruption, right? Okay, so I think I've got a few more questions for you. Okay, so I think help me understand, what has been the most challenging part of year three so far?
Oh, the challenging part of year three, I think, would be just managing our time because, like I said, we are given a lot of time. So right now, we are not given any more progress checkups. Like the lecturers won't ask you like, oh, where are you at right now in your concept? They won't really ask you that anymore because you're in year three. You're supposed to know how to pace yourself. So the challenging thing would just be it's really just mainly managing your time and also
Mm,
thinking of alternatives during this situation as well. I mean, this COVID situation is very
mm,
unfortunate, but then again, we're all trying our best. So yeah, I mean, it is really saddening that really unfortunate that we are caught up in this, but then that's life. So as a year three, we have to take more steps to source out for information and and materials. Like we can't do any more surveys in person, so we go to online survey forms.
mhm. So, and I think, like, with that very mature and very go-getting mindset, I think that's very encouraging. But also helps us to remind, that there are actually different ways of working, and in this particular climate, it means that we have to be a bit more agile and willing to try new ways of doing things to hopefully get the results that we want. Whether it's research or whether it's about the end outcome that we're trying to produce as part of the assignment or the submission. Um, alluded to this a little bit earlier, internships. So help us understand what the process of, preparation, going out for interviews, where if there was any physical interviews, okay, and also the process of SIP and then post SIP. What help tell us more about that.
Oh, oh, that brings a lot of memories back. Okay, so to start off, when preparing for internship, we have to first build up our portfolios, e-portfolios as well. So e-portfolio building is just basically including all of your works, all images, all renders, and drawing sketches into a online form that you would then sort of dump into LinkedIn, dump into other magazine magazine sites like for your portfolio. But after building that portfolio, we then send them out. We send out our resumes, our CVs, and portfolios on to the companies that we want. So in my experience, we were given information on some companies that were recruiting interns. So through that, we knew of what companies we could apply for. But then if you're let's say if you're looking for a company that isn't included in what other people have gone in gone in the years before, you can always source out on your own. So my friends, some of them actually source out for other local and really esteemed design companies and studios, which they got into. So it's a good thing. But for me, I sort of went into a company owned by an alumni of PID of our course. So in that company, I learned a lot of interior designing, sort of furniture designing that really helped tested my skills from PID, like rendering and concept drawings and things like that.
I see. And so help us understand, like, during SIP itself, because it's a 4 month program,
Oh
right?
yes.
Were you at home, or were you in the office, or what was it like?
Okay. Okay, I'll say that for me, throughout the entire 4 months duration, I was working in the office at staggered hours. But however, some of my other classmates I've heard that most of them had to do sort of a step like alternate working days. Like some days they had to be at home to do work from home, and some of them had to be in the office in person to do the prototypes. Yep.
Okay. And so Now that you've, you're a couple months after SIP, right? Actually, in fact, SIP concluded, what was it, in October last year, right? So we're actually, 2 months removed from the situation. Looking back, what do you think was the most valuable aspect of SIP for you?
Well, okay, the most valuable aspect of SIP would be really experiencing an office environment with other different with other different designers. Like I worked with an interior designer, another fellow intern from NYP, and in the sub company I worked with another intern from SP as well. So in that office
Mm,
environment, you get to meet different people from different backgrounds and coming together because of design and things like that. That's really rewarding for me. Yep. So yeah, it really gave me the chance to
mm,
network with clients and
mm.
with all of my with all of my office mates as well. We get to share the pantry, you get to cook in the office and things like that. It really felt like a dream. It's like
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, okay, Yelena, I just have one last question to ask you. So,
okay.
what are your aspirations upon graduation?
Oh, upon graduation. Okay. Okay. Right now, for me, my aspiration would just be to get into the local uni. But of course, there are like
Mm,
many backup plans. So for me, okay, let's be real here. Even in, I mean, for those who are worried what they want to do in the future, I mean, your parents would definitely tell you that, oh, think of what you want to do. It's very late already. But but come on, as a year three right now, slightly um I'm also slightly confused of what I want to do as well because in PID we learn to do so many things, so it's very difficult to find a favorite thing to do as a career in the future. So right now I'm still unsure of what I want to pursue, but right now the options for me are
mm,
to get into NUS or NTU, or maybe like one of those private art schools in Singapore like NAFA or LaSalle to do other
mm,
specialist courses as well.
mm. Oh, thank you for being honest about it. I think there's nothing, there's no shame in being confused or at least being slightly paralyzed by options and the potential opportunities that lie ahead of you. I think that factually the truth is in Singapore we do have quite a lot of options for further studies. I actually just had alumni approach me for a recommendation letter to go to the SUTD, right? And I think that's encouraging on many different levels. We have alumni in NUS, we have alumni in NTU, soon to have alumni at SUTD. In fact, we have alumni who are overseas as well, who have gone to Australia and UNSW also during this COVID period, which was very challenging for them. We also have alumni who have gone to the UK for studies as well. In Central St Martin's in London, and that's I think in your case, there's many paths to take, and I think that with time and with conversations with different people, you can start to narrow down the options. So I think just even though I'm saying this in front of the general public, I think it's okay for you to feel a bit confused, but allow yourself to ask yourself, uh, what have I learned in PID? As you said before, PID gives you a wide gamut of skill sets. So allow that to broaden your horizons and not to be afraid of how far you can go and how far you can go. Okay, so and I think that kind of neatly wraps up our session today. Thank you so much for coming in, Yedin and Seraphine, for being part of today's session. Unfortunately, there've been no questions from the YouTube live stream. Okay, but in my closing notes, allow me to just encourage everyone who's watching here today that in PID we have a lot going on. We cover a lot of different topics, and we don't just give our students a wide range of skill sets, but we also have corresponding depth in all of these areas as well. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this live stream, on our TP website, and you go to School of Design, Diploma in Product and Industrial Design, you see all the modules that we actually offer for students who come into this program. It's very comprehensive, right? Factually, PID is actually the oldest object design course in Singapore at this point in time. So, there's a lot of heritage and legacy that comes, when you're joining this course. That said, we're also looking to the future. We are aware that this field in this industry is broadening, is ever changing. We know that in the future it's not just about objects, but also about digital engagement. It's also about user experience, about service design, and we're also, of course, pivoting towards that direction in ways that we can. So if you're excited about what you've heard today, excited about the experiences that you heard our students share, okay, please approach us. Please, come and find us and talk to us. Okay, there's actually many ways for you to reach us through the school website. So if you have any questions beyond today, please don't forget that tomorrow we have another session at 1 o'clock with alumni who's currently studying at NUS. Please feel free to jump in, ask questions, be engaged. Okay, so that's all from us today from the Diploma in Product Industry Design. My name is Eric, signing off. Thank you, Yelin and Seraphine, and we'll see you guys in the next session. Take care and
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Purchase your tracks today.
So, if you have a passion for fashion and feel that life is dull without style, then this course is for you. Come join us in apparel design and merchandising at the Temasek Poly School of Design.
Purchase your tracks
See you soon. Bye bye.
If you believe that creativity means being the best version of yourself and setting your mind free, come join us at Communication Design.
Make it on the first day.
I just wanted somebody to talk to.
Why are you stopping me now? It wasn't my fault.
Fine! Don't give me that! Okay, little ones are gone anyway.
So if you wish to tell your stories on screen, bring your audiences on an emotional journey of laughter and tears, one award-winning film at a time. Then come join us at the Mastic Polytechnic Digital